Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Saber and Sean's Death Battle Reviews. Today, we have the third episode of Season 9, and it is finally back to being male combatants. No more female combatants. They've gotten their time to shine. Now it's time to move on to the men. And we have our first anime on anime fight of this season. It is Jonathen Joestar, aka the best boy from JoJo Bizarre Adventures Part 1, versus another cool boy, Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. And of course, I am Saber, and with me is my trusty co-host and friend, editor Sean.
So let's be honest. How many of you can agree with us that this not only took your breath away, but this took your tears away too?
It certainly did that. We're gonna get into that, but I will say I was not expecting to feel things. Luis did say that we were gonna feel things in this episode, and I was kind of hoping it wouldn't come down to Nezuko getting killed, but thankfully that didn't happen. Again, we'll get to that, but holy shit, this episode made me feel things, and I love it.
That is good. I consider this so far the best episode of this season. It was pretty dope.
Absolutely. I concur. I think this is my personal favorite episode of season 9 so far. It's probably, when all is said and done, when we get towards the tail end of the season, it's probably gonna be in the top 5, maybe top 3. I'm just calling that now. So yes, but we have a lot to talk about, so let's just go ahead and get into it. For those of you who just don't know, we don't do the analysis because we both are on podcasts, so we kind of save our thoughts on the analysis for those. So here we just do the animation, the voice acting, and the music, and we talk a little bit about the next time. So, alright, let's talk about this animation. What'd you think?
I think overall this was surprisingly like I went from tensing up during this animation to sadness to excitement. There was so many emotions with this animation that this took me through.
I can agree, yes. Like, I only have one nitpick, and I'll expand upon this in my own individual podcast with the Robust Cast. But the only problem I had is there were certain shots that weren't done by Luis or Zach that were a little too fast. That would be the third animator who worked on this. Again, his name unfortunately escapes me. I'm probably gonna be corrected down in the comments below, but I thought his scenes, specifically where he did the fire and water effects for Tanjiro's swords, I thought they were great, but then there were certain shots where it's moving too fast. Like, there isn't enough time to properly register what's going on. And that's no fault of his own. I know he was probably trying to make it look sick as fuck, but it just came off a little too fast for me. I do like what he's got. I do like how he did everything. So props to him, props to Zach, and props to Luis. They all did a great job with this animation. It really is one of the best sprite fights of the two we've gotten so far. I would say that this is arguably, I don't know if you would, better than Z versus Scarlet Witch.
Oh no, I agree with that 100%.
Okay, yeah. Because that was one of the main problems with that, was the animation was going a bit too fast, and there was even some scenes that dragged on more than others. Whereas here, it's all one consistent pace.
Yeah, I can get that. I mean, the whole speeding up thing, there's a lot of animators that worked on this, so I feel like they were trying to not only replicate the style of JoJo combat, but also Demon Slayer, so that might be why you're not used to that kind of speed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which, again, to their credit, they did a great job. This really felt like a perfect marriage of JoJo and Demon Slayer, more so than the other two fights, because, again, it's hard to believe. This is our third JoJo-related fight, going all the way back to Jotaro versus Kenshiro, where that one hasn't aged particularly too well, but this one, it's much better. I wouldn't
Oh no,
say it's. I'm sorry. I wouldn't say it's better than Dio versus Alucard, but let's be honest. What the hell is going to top that?
I was gonna say if this is like the perfect marriage. They consider Tanjiro the mom character. Does that mean Tanjiro's the bride in this situation?
I would agree. Yes, I would perfectly agree with that. This is like, I mean, even though he's 15, so Jonathan is 20, so it's like, yeah. But either way, we're having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Honestly, the only complaint I have is like the way the water effects from Tanjiro's sword went with the environment. Like I wasn't that big on it, but it's like very minor.
yeah, no, absolutely. And one other thing that we actually got in this that we've never gotten in another JoJo fight, which Luis did bring up on his own personal Twitter account, is we finally got to see the different color palette actually play a factor in this episode. If you haven't watched JoJo Part 1, which I highly recommend, it's only 9 episodes, it's easy to binge. There is a color swap that changes whenever the characters are in nighttime. There's a kind of a green color palette going on, and JoJo is just covered in blue, whereas the other people are surrounded in different colors. And they did that here too. Of course, JoJo was covered in blue, and Tanjiro was covered in red. So it was a great visual treat for my eyes.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch that makes it brighten up a little bit, and it worked super well with the environment and the sprites themselves.
Oh yeah, no, and that is actually another thing I did want to comment about that I saw a lot of people have an issue with was Tanjiro's sprite and how it was rigged. I can agree that yeah, it was a bit janky, considering they had to build this sprite from the ground up. I would say that yeah, like for the first couple of seconds, it does kind of bother me, but then as the fight progresses, I kind of just forget about it.
And plus, it had to match like a lot of the hand-drawn elements for Tanjiro as
Yes,
well, which were super cool to see, even though they were like very short.
exactly. Yes. And another thing I also want to just say is yes, all of the hand drawn stuff was freaking beautiful. Even the expression work on Jonathan's sprite was very well done, especially the ending, where obviously
God.
Tanjiro loses. Uh,
Yay, the Robustcast finally got one.
We did, yes, we did. Although technically we got two because I did go for Z, but that's beside the point. That is beside the point. But yes, no. The ending was great. I loved how it just ended with Jonathan swearing on his life as a gentleman to take care of Nezuko, and you just get that beautiful hand drawn shot of Jonathan's hand reaching out to Nezuko's, and she's kind of hesitant to take it.
Dude, like that death though, where Jonathan just stops the heart of Tanjiro, kind of gave me like Goku versus Superman vibes of the whole. He made it quick and painless after that promise, and like after regretting his actions, just like Superman did.
Exactly. Yes. There was so much feels in that one moment that I had tears coming down. I loved it. I really did, and uh I concur with Spectral Star. I would watch an anime with Jonathan trying to protect Nezuko and just seeing that duo work together.
That could be a fun spin-off that someone will probably do.
Yes, or maybe somebody will make kind of like a
A
fan
comic.
com. Yeah, exactly, a fan comic, or just have a little doodle that is just showing Nezuko with Jonathan. It's like, oh god.
I think what adds on to all the emotion and intensity is the voice acting done by Zach as Tanjiro and Benji as JoJo.
Yes, that's a great transition. These two did a fantastic job as both these characters, especially Benji. Like, not to take anything away from Zack as Tanjiro, he did a good job capturing ironically, Zach's character.
Yeah,
Funny
that's the funny
enough.
part.
Yeah, funny enough. Zach Aguilar, the actual voice actor of Tanjiro, who does the dub voice for Genos in One Punch Man, is now being his character is now being played by another Zach. So I find that is funny. Oh god, that's funny. But Benji is the real MVP here. For anybody who didn't think it was possible to capture a Johnny on Bosch performance, Benji proved him. He proved them wrong. You can, because I gotta tell you, the more and more I listened to it, the more and more I could hear Bosch.
Yeah, like especially with how you compare the voices of Ichigo and JoJo, like you can tell there's a difference, and I think Benji just definitely took that aspect of JoJo and just made it his own.
Yes, yes, he did. He doesn't just impersonate Johnny's performance. He does do a good job of giving his own take on it. There were stuff that he says in this that I could totally see JoJo saying, and the way he delivers it, he doesn't over exaggerate because that is kind of the key difference here. Is Bosch's performance was a bit of an exaggeration, whereas Benji's, it's more laid back, it's more toned down. He definitely still comes off as JoJo. I can believe that that's JoJo right there. So that was a beautiful performance, and again, the ending where he just breaks down and he's just swearing he'll take care of Nezuko. I could totally see that happening if these two were ever to meet.
Yeah, today this all started with a misunderstanding, and then we get the scenes that we did get.
Exactly. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Like one scene in particular I loved was when Tanjiro did stab JoJo. Like they actually did the whole like measured by 2 inches thing. I don't know if
Yes,
that was hand draw or like edited in, but that looked really cool.
it did. It did. I do. I think Benji's performance is my favorite performance of season 9 so far. I know we're probably going to get much, much better performances, especially in the next one, but to me, Benji just stole the show. He really captured that spirit that Jonathan has, and I really would like to see him come back.
Yeah, I definitely think if Benji does come back, he'll do good in whatever he does. Speaking of coming back, does this mean we're gonna get more Therewolf tracks now
I
this
hope
season?
so because yes, we do have the track, which is done by Wolf Media.
Yeah, surprise, they're back. Like they weren't gonna come back, and this is called Breathless Blades.
That's an appropriate title, and of course, as always, the cover album was drawn by John Mitchell, the storyboarder of this season. So that it looks very good. I like how it looks. The track itself, it's good. It is kind of hard for me to get, excuse me, their first JoJo track, Bizarre Stars, out of my mind because again,
Hmm.
that was just an iconic track. But this does a great job of capturing the emotions of both shows. And you actually do get to hear a bit of Jonathan's theme song in here.
I think it's definitely because of that piano they put in. Like that helps sell this track a lot.
Yes, I love that piano bit, and it's got great action. It does go along with the what's going on, and unlike Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch track, where it just came off as a bit serviceable, this really feels like you could put this on for either JoJo or Demon Slayer. It just it captures both of those sounds, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I definitely think Breathless Blades is a pretty solid track all around. By itself, I gotta listen to, but with the fight, it works super well with all the moments and emotion that you feel throughout this whole journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do like that end at the that bit at the end. It was good.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't really know if there's anything else I can say that hasn't been said already.
No.
If we're forgetting stuff, we're probably gonna mention it on our podcast and everything.
Yeah, no. Really what it comes down to is if you have watched part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and you're all caught up on Demon Slayer, this episode is going to hit a lot more harder for you. It will make you feel even more things because I had a week or less than 3 weeks to catch up on Demon Slayer and watch part one, and I gotta say the experience was rewarded in this episode. I really loved it, and I think that's what makes it hit home for not just me but other people as well.
If you're a JoJo fan and Demon Slayer fan, yeah, I can definitely understand that. I don't watch Demon Slayer, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's good. I highly recommend it. It's worth getting into, especially for Nezuko. I really think that that's the core of what makes people want to check it out is Tanjiro and Nezuko's relationship and their kind of survival of trying to get through being demon slayers. So I highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, this episode it's good. I love it.
Yeah. So, is there anything else we want to bring, or do we want to briefly touch on the godly next time, as some people are going to put it, that'll Ragnarok the house?
We can talk about the next time. Yes.
See what I did there?
Yes, I did see what you did there. um, I, I don't know how to put this delicately, but Vegeta's gonna die.
It's Vegeta versus Thor, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's Vegeta versus Thor. Vegeta gonna die. Sorry, that's how it is. That's how it is. Vegeta is screwed.
I mean, you never know how the season's going to go. I am curious to see what style they are going to go with, because Thor has been in both sprite and 3D style as far as death battles go.
That's true, and Vegeta has mostly been in Sprite. I think the safest bet is probably Sprite, considering that
Yeah,
this will be their third Sprite fight, and they tend to just do more Sprite fights and less 3D fights because, again, budget and all that. So,
and
um,
plus, do we even want to talk about that DBX?
I don't think no, I don't think we do. Even though yes, it was restored, it was fixed. It's just God, I just no, sorry. I'm looking forward to this one. I've been wanting Thor to get some justice done for a long time, and I've been wanting Vegeta to come back for a very, very long time. So I'm happy that we're finally getting this fight. And the best I can hope for is that it's good and it's a good send off for both these characters because this will be Thor's third time in Death Battle and this will be Vegeta's second time in Death Battle. But I think after this, I don't think there's anybody else you can put Vegeta up against.
I mean, unless you want to be crazy and put him up against Zod.
Yeah, or Sasuke. But
Why?
fans.
But this will be fun. This will be a fun next time. I'm looking forward to see who's voice acting Thor again because the last Thor actor actually was pretty dope.
Yes, I agree. And it is going to be interesting on whether or not they will get Lenny Pator back as Vegeta. It's not. There's people who are obviously going to say, "Oh, well, obviously they got to get Lenny Pator back," but it's like we don't know.
I mean, we didn't get Taka back for Shadow, so
Yeah, that's true. We did not get Taka back for Shadow, but stranger things have happened. Whoever they get, I'm hoping that this can be a good fight. And I'm hoping that this can follow this up because if it just doesn't, then hey, at least I have Jonathen versus Tanjiro.
and if it does, you're gonna brag about how this is the best episode until the season finale.
No, I'm sticking by it. I'm sticking by it. This is my personal favorite episode for now, but I am expecting good things from the Prince versus the Prince.
Yeah.
But that'll about do it, guys. We, of course, will talk more about this on our individual podcast, and we will, of course, be seeing you guys on May 9th, a day after Mother's Day, is when this fight comes out for YouTube, and we will talk about it and give our thoughts. So until then, we're going to go ahead and sign off.
Goodbye, everybody.
Later, guys.